My name is Tan and I'm from Singapore. We moved to Oregon in 2019.
My name is Brad. Miss Tan and I we met in 2016. I'm a professor, and we had Aerin in 2019, which is the same year that we moved to
Yes.
Oregon. When Aerin was growing up as a baby, she was very happy, but then around 1 years to 18 months, we started to notice some challenges arose.
She doesn't quite have eye contact.
Mm.
And when you call out her name, she wouldn't answer. And she wasn't talking. I think that was also the point that we decided to bring this up to the doctor.
Mm.
Because it's not typical at all. And that's when we got put on a wait list for autism. And then we signed her up for like the early intervention speech therapy.
We started to see that 18 months hit, 2 years hit, 2.5 years hit, and she was still not talking. Doctors at first told us, okay, maybe it's just speech delay. We were here without family too, so she didn't get as much interaction talking. She was kind of dealing on her own a lot.
So they mentioned that we are from a bilingual family and not speaking, it's um, have some delay, it's typical.
Mm.
But growing up in Singapore, all of us speak at least two languages, and I know deep in my heart that something is amiss.
Yes, and we could see other children of a similar
Yes.
age or with similar scenarios who are talking, who are able to control their behavior a little bit, and so we started at that point to kind of feel like something might be wrong. There was like a period of about a year where I was going to work and we were trying to raise Aaron, and it got
Yes.
really difficult for either of us to focus. The challenge was how do we kind of raise this kid who is this kind of um, like a stone wall, like she'd either be like screaming or
So not.
upset and or zoned out, and it sort of created this like huge sort of obstacle both in our individual lives, the successes that we wanted. There was like we had plans for Miss Tan's career there that we couldn't necessarily
Yes.
pursue. There was a lot of times where I'd have like a grant proposal that'd be like within inches of submission, and then we'd have a meltdown at home, and I'll just have to be like, okay, we'll have to come back to this later. I think as parents, like as individuals, we really, we were always, when we started dating, we were very passionate about each other, and we had a lot of fun doing projects, like work projects together, taking vacations, really enjoying life. Go to museum, go to cafe. We like to go to a video gaming cafe, this sort of thing. And I think what we envisioned when we were having a child is that it'd be more of that, right? Like we'd do our adventures, but we'd have a kid with us and helping her grow. But the reality that we were we met when she started to be like 1, 2, past the kind of infant stage, was that her behavior was so disruptive that like for my wife emotionally it was really difficult. Like she was really struggling with her emotions. I was really struggling with depression. I was having a difficult time. Like I wasn't getting good reviews at work. Like I was having trouble because I'll be like wrap up in the lab and then come home and Aaron's just like screaming and everyone is arguing, and it's kind of like Aaron's go to. I feel like Aerin is very intelligent and she can see if she. It's almost like if she sees a weakness in our kind of cohesion as a team, she will like attack it. And so it would foster a lot of arguments, both like between us and also with her, trying to get her to do anything until we're just like frozen, like stuck in this pattern of where we can't get anything we want to do done, like work, entertainment, or time as a family. Like all three of those kind of fell apart. So it really became a struggle for a year or two there. We were really kind of wondering what we would do, and we had just kind of been looking forward to, okay, sometime Aaron's going to go to school soon, and maybe that will be like some pressure relief for us, is kind of what we were hoping.
So we sent her to a natural play school where the kids go out in the nature and they explore stuff. And she could not keep up with the group. She would just run off to any danger she can find. And it was at a park, so there were roads and construction going at that point. And we were told that she might not be that suitable for that program. And it was very heartbreaking.
Yes, because it kind of felt like I feel like this feeling of the ground sort of dropping out from under you because even though she's only maybe 2 years old, there is still this moment where the teacher comes and tells you, okay, your daughter's not suitable for this program. She has to leave, and we just our hearts just kind of drop because we're thinking, okay, now what are we gonna do?
I'm Dave Berger, along with my wife Athena Perry. We run the Hand in Hand Farm. We're attempting to teach kids to get ready to be adults, to get ready to work. We're trying to teach parents to train those kids. We tell the parents, do not raise children, raise adults. Then you won't have to support them when they're in their 30s. Miss Dunn started coming here in spring. Miss Aerin couldn't speak. She wouldn't follow directions. She was sometimes just running off. She wasn't following her mom's directions at all. She'd been out here a couple of weeks, and Miss Aerin's therapists came out, a teacher and an ABA therapist. And they told us that they had been working with Miss Aerin for quite a while, and they thought there was no hope. They said this is a little girl that they thought mom should just lock in a room, lock up and walk away. That she should be put in a facility, that there was no hope for her. And Miss Ton wasn't willing to accept that. She said she was willing to put in the time, and across that summer they came out sometimes 3, sometimes 4 times a week. People don't realize the autistic kids they think of as hopeless. They don't realize that prior to calling it autism, they called it delayed development. It doesn't mean these kids can't develop. It means that these kids need time to develop. One of my pet peeves about the society right now is people say, oh, he's autistic, you just have to make allowances. That means that kid never develops as a person. When we set the bar high, we expect the development. We just realize they're going to take longer to get there. They're going to meet the employability goals. Another thing that we see with kids like Miss Aerin is if you just make allowances and if you just let them do whatever, they grow up very miserable people. You are doing a total disservice to these kids when you try to set the bar too low. Ms. Ton said her daughter is going to be a superb person. She's going to learn to use the power of her autism to excel beyond other kids.
There's something they always say at the farm. It's like what is like wisdom is kind of like knowing what good looks like. And I think from everything, like from not speaking to not behaving well, I think the challenge that's can be difficult with autistic children, but which we realize is there for everyone, and which is I think part of like what improves us is like learning about the importance of like having an idea of what's good behavior and following through with it.
To help her change, we would get Miss Aerin in and expect her to help with jobs. By the time she was 2.5, she could clean a stall by herself. She can run the shovel. We give her real tasks. When you're through, either the stall's clean or it's not. When you're through, either you rode that horse around the barrel or you didn't. And by giving her real tasks and holding her to real standards, she thrives. Now, understand at first there was quite a battle. She didn't want to work, she wants mommy to do it all. She wants to be treated like a queen and put on the horse. She doesn't want to have to put on her own helmet. She wants somebody to do it for her. Well, that's typical of any kid. We set the expectations. She can go get her own helmet. She can help saddle her own horse. She can ride. If she falls off, she can get back on. And by setting the expectations, the same as we would for anybody, we practice what we believe is inclusion. This is what the group is going to do, and if you want to be included, this is what you have to do to get there. And this kind of inclusion gets the kids from just going to sleep to waking up and looking around. And we do not want these kids sleeping on the job, playing games. We teach them consequences. When the kids misbehave, there's a consequence. They have to learn to be responsible for their own actions. Then, when they go to work, they're going to be an asset wherever they go. And it's the power of the autism that we're trying to teach this girl to focus. Use your autism to follow directions and get things done. We don't tell her, oh, you're autistic, so you only do one stall. You're on the crew is cleaning all the stalls, you will clean all the stalls. We're feeding, you won't just do one or two horses, you'll feed them all. Inclusion means what is the expectation of everybody? Get your head up and do it. Then you can be included in the workforce.
It took Aerin about 4 months, but she picked up a shovel and she started shoveling for the very first time. And then I started to believe that it can be done.
You see, if you think of them, they're special needs kids, we have to make allowance. That kid ends up feeling like subhuman. If instead they learn to do the job, get the job done, and take pride in their workmanship and in their work ethic, just like any human being, they develop a sense of self-worth. If you are not allowing these kids to fail once in a while and then deal with the failure, if you don't allow that, they'll never learn to deal with success.
So when Aerin wasn't able to talk yet, she was nonverbal for a while. She only started talking when she turned 4. That was in March 2023. 2023, she started talking. And when she first started talking, it started off with just a few words. And within a month, it turned into a full sentence. It was pretty quickly. And she would go to the farm and she would say, Abby, that's the name of the horse. And Mr. Dave was like, let's get Abby out. And that encouraged her to talk. And you know what? Typical Aerin. She would say the horses that she knows she wasn't supposed to ride, like Dawn. And guess what? Mr. Dave said yes. And she would say, Jet, Mr. Dave's personal horse that no one is supposed to ride. And sure. And that actually motivate her. So every time she soon start to change to I want to ride. And then the name. It started off with just the name.
If you look at some of the other most popular treatment methods for autism, like ABA. So ABA, I think, is a really good method. It's very grounded in neuroscience, and it works. But what the difference is, and the kind of expansion of that at the farm, is that firstly, we take the engagement, as I was kind of saying earlier, like from being a set of small artifacts, maybe like a toy on the table, to where it's a total, it's kind of almost like a real life system, right? Where it's the environment, it's the background, it's the horses moving around, it's carts, it's the building you're inside of. And so there's a greater degree of engagement. And I think it also helps children to start to build the connection, not just between like a single kind of artifact of interest, but the total environment.
There's this thing about the dignity of risk. If you never let your kids risk anything, you'll never let your kids experience success. And it doesn't matter if it's an autistic kid, an ADHD kid, I don't care what the disability is. When they accomplish with a group real jobs that take effort, then they feel great about themselves, their self-confidence and their self-value goes way up. And that's how you define quality of life.
So when I first know that we are gonna have a daughter, so in my dream we would go on adventure, we gonna go on shopping trip, trying on makeups, and all these things did not happen. I wouldn't even dare to bring Aerin to a store. Once she just put her hand up and she just walked and shoved everything on the shelf down to the ground. It was so stressful. But now I'm able to take her to the shops. She even have her own shopping list and she will help out. And she even know not to put the egg at the bottom. And this is something that's beyond my imagination. It's not just that she's able to do that, she is helping out. So there might be times that I forgot milk. And she'd be like, Mommy, we don't have milk. Or that she would just put milk on our list.
So Aerin today, as she describes herself, is like a grown-up. She is capable of doing things that I think a lot of even grown-ups would struggle with.
You can see how happy Miss Aerin is. She can right now, at 4 years old, teach people, she can teach adults how to clean a stall. She can go out and run a stall cleaning crew right now at 4 years old. It happens if you set the bar high and keep to the goals. If you set the goals, the kids can reach them. If you set the goals down here, the kids will reach them.
This past weekend at the Cowboy Christmas, she, brought a mini horse out. So it's like a small horse, and she was leading it around the arena totally on her own, like under control. And then she wanted to start to run with it, and Mommy said, "Don't run," and she instantly stopped. So she's really able to handle already like large animals. And I can remember when I was like 2 years old, we had a horse, and I would be or even like 4 or 5, her age, I would be terrified to even sit on one. And she can lead one around. She can teach other children how to hold the reins, how to sit, and use body control to get the horse walking. So she also is just really helpful in our daily lives. Like at school, the teachers told me that Aerin's not a student, she's a teacher, because she'll help jump in to clean up or to make sure that students are following the rules for a particular activity or game. When we're waiting outside, if one of the children will run into the road, she will tell them, "Don't do that, that's unsafe," and kind of bring them back. And so she's really good like that.
My name is Kaylee Harris, and I am one of Aaron's preschool teachers.
I am Stephanie Kinney, and I am also one of Aaron's preschool teachers.
Hi, and I'm Vicki Trejo, and I am one of the teachers here also.
Aerin has been doing amazingly well this year. She's been showing amazing empathy with her other peers, and as a leader, she will help kids know what to do next. When she first started in November of 22, she was very quiet. She didn't talk a lot. Aerin observed, and she really picked up on things.
And she's very helpful in getting other kids to engage and be a leader in doing the right thing.
When it's cleanup time, when I did put our toys away, she will no, it's time to put things away and help students, other peers, put them away. she often will just be like, "This is what we're doing next," and she'll,
In the past, it's me teaching her how to, in her daily life, and now she is the one that's guiding me in my daily life and make it better. Erin and I has been going to the gym, and she started talking to everyone. She actually made a lot of friends. So especially in the sauna, and she was like, "Hi, how's your day?" And so one time I went to the gym without Erin. So Erin was with her friends in building a house for their family. So also I bumped into um, a lady that we see all the time. So she started asking me, "Oh, where is Erin?" I say, "Oh, Erin, it's out." And she said, "What a break for you." So I started thinking, and I look at that lady. I told her, "It's not a break without Erin around." So what happened is today, look at me. I'm barefooted. I forgot my slipper because Erin is usually the one that pack my gym bag for me every morning. And look at us talking. I'm a very cold and shy person. I wouldn't usually approach people. And Erin was the one that started talking to you. We have like nearly the same gym schedule since last fall, and we never even spoken. She actually put me out there, to have to just put me out of my comfort zone and make me have to keep up with her. A lot of parents would come to the farm or just anywhere, like maybe a therapy or something, and expect it to work almost immediately. And if it doesn't, that method is not good. And I hope more parents can see that things don't just change overnight. It takes a lot of effort and get built up slowly. So if it doesn't change overnight, just don't give up. So when I first started coming to Hand in Hand Farm, I was unable to handle Erin in the supermarket. Going to the grocery store was a nightmare. Not that she ran away, and sometimes I just couldn't find her. So I often have to, get a babysitter, and that's how I can go to the grocery store. Since coming to Hand in Hand Farm and learning how to lead a horse with a rope, and that's exactly how I teach Erin to follow me around the shop. You have to give her some warning. It's just like riding a horse. So like when I move, I give it some warning too. Like just a gentle touch. Just a light tap. And everyone will know like we're changing direction, we are going somewhere else. So another incident, how horses teaches Erin, was that when her meltdowns used to be really, really violent, we will often put a helmet on her to prevent her from hurting her head. And it escalated to her starting punching her face because that's the only exposed area. And one time I was so frustrated while she was doing that, I just started screaming. I lost my cool. I say, "Erin, you knock it off, stop it now." And she screamed back at me with the same intensity. "I don't know how, teach me, teach me." And meanwhile, punching her face. And I just froze. I did not know how to teach her. And I start to flashback. One time I was on a horse. I was on TF, and TF is an advanced horse, and I'm still not up to his level, and he just ran on me. I panicked, and that caused him to run more. The only way I can make him stop is to calm myself down and do the breathing while on a horse and trying not to fall. So I told Erin, just like how you ask a horse to stop, do the breathing. And she did it 6 times, And she looked at me and she said, Mom, it works. And since then, there wasn't any violent meltdown anymore. Sometimes randomly in the house, I would hear a, and that's when I know Erin was trying to control her meltdown.
Take a deep breath in and lift your arms up, and then we're gonna go peel. Let your elbow slow peel.
We've even had other parents come in and tell Miss Ton that she's lucky she has an autistic kid. They don't have an autistic kid, so they are limited. This is a girl who is where she is because her mom decided we're going to develop.
So when she was younger, I once brought her to the dentist, and she had a whole meltdown. She flipped the tray, and it was pretty horrible. And I had to reschedule my dental appointment. So some time ago, I got a dental appointment. I remember it was at 9 a.m. So that day she doesn't have school. We don't have childcare. So one of our friend agreed to take her to the farm while I go to the dentist and would then catch up. But there was some miscommunication and it did not pull through. So there I was sitting in a driveway and I start calling 5 other friends and no one is available to babysit Aerin. So there I was crying screaming in my hands like I just had a whole mental meltdown. And Aerin just sit in her car seat and be like, "Stop crying, Mom. Just drive." And I turned around, "Where do you want me to go? I can't go anywhere. I don't know what to do." And she's like, "To the dentist, Mom." And then that's when it hits me. I got a dentist appointment to catch up. I have no one to babysit her. And the only way I have is to go. And then there I went to the dental appointment. And, I warned them when I entered the reception. The last time she came here, she trashed the place. She's, I don't know, bring toys, whatever you can. Please help me out. I don't want to have to cancel my appointment. And there the nurse marching in with Legos, with coloring books. And Aerin just sat there the whole 45 minutes, quietly on the chair. And after I was done, she walked to the dental chair and she asked the dentist, "Can I have a turn?" And of course, she got her turn.
My mom controlled herself, and then she had a knockdown, and then at other people's house, and then my mom is learning how to be quiet, and then she controls herself, and then she goes to the first.
So there are a lot of moments where I just think myself like I'm the victim. I have this crazy I have this child that I could not handle. And in the past she have caused so much trauma to us. It's hard to believe that she is such a good girl now. And this is something I think we have to work on.
Children are, literally like replicates of their parents, and then their behavior is also, a reflection of what they're seeing their parents do. And, working at Hand in Hand Farms, what we really also gain is, as parents, learning how parents need to behave and set examples and guidelines in behaviors. And I think it's easier for us to kind of have blind spots as adults. Maybe we have our professional face and we, know how to engage and behave at work, but how to be a good parent, how to train kids to be well behaved isn't something that necessarily is available. There's no university for parents.
Often hear parents say that that's not my kid. He can do whatever he wants. Not my kid. I don't. When the kid does something wrong, they will say that's not my kid. It's fine. And this is what we don't do. Because if you allowed a stranger, let's say, to do that, let's say a child at the farm to do something wrong and not stop it, your child is watching. and think that that could be the same. I can do the same when no one is watching, when my mom is not here, but other parents are here. I can just do that. No, we always treat everyone the same. Whatever, diagnosis or whatever you have, you are the same. We hold you accountable. And I think why is it so successful? It's we all watch out for each other. I'm watching out for your child, you're watching out for my child.
Yeah, I think it is really important too. And when we first went hand in hand, other parents will jump in and correct Aerin, and it's such a relief. It's such a weight off your shoulders to have another parent help pick them up if they're screaming and having a tantrum and saying you can't do that. And I now too that we've been going several years, like I will now jump in, and it's also a really valuable learning experience for us as parents because I'll have to kind of play parent for a day to a kid who might be 14 or 17 or 20s, and who are maybe like facing some emotional difficulties or some developmental disabilities, and learning, okay, how can I deal with these behaviors with children at different stages of development. So Aerin sees us helping to guide other kids, but we're also learning and kind of seeing what it looks like down the road too. And so it's also kind of like a time travel or something, you know what I mean? To see like what kids will look like, and how to deal with those problems at different stages it's really valuable. Whereas I think in a sort of traditional environment, you have your relatives
Yes.
if you have them, but otherwise you're totally disengaged from other families. And when kids are together and interacting with other parents together and interacting, it helps just kind of build all these cross links of like what is good behavior in at different stages of the human development.
The way I love Aerin has always been just like a mom to a daughter love. I feel obligated to love her because she's my daughter, and that's what have been. But after the changes in her, and this particular incident really changed my point of view. So one day you were away, we were at home. Aaron's bedtime is 8 o'clock sharp. So we were trying to clean up dinner, everything. And usually I would get Aaron to do dishes with me, but that day I was way too tired. I'm like, go play while I do my dishes. So I was doing dishes and she came to me, she said, Mommy, come play with me. And I told her, I'm really tired, I really need to get this done. And she went back, she put her toys away, she came back to me and she said, let me do it for you. You go play. And she started doing dishes. So there I was sitting on the sofa looking at her little body standing on the stool and just scrubbing, using too much soap. But that's when it hits me. I really love her, and it's not because I'm a mom. This little person put herself in this position to lessen my burden. And yes, it really changed my point of view from that day on.
Let go!